Yeah, we actually have a huge capacity installed, 4 gigabits per second. That's a huge amount of data that we're not utilizing. So I'm going to change the subject a little bit to talk about how do we actually take advantage and use that installed capacity that we have. So I'm changing the subject along the same tone of infrastructure, but I'm going to talk about how you build content, using content to drive broadband demand. So the topic is slightly different, but the focus will be aligned to that particular area of focus. I'm from NIRA, Nigeria Internet Registration Association. We are the .com.ng people.
And all the social networks, they are actually not bandwidth intensive. And the resultant effect is that the capacity utilization is extremely low. The estimate of the actual capacity utilization in the country is about 40 gigabits per second, which is less than just about 1% of the capacity supply. So it could be, if you now juxtapose the two equations, the demand, supply, the capacity that is available, and compare it with the demand, it could be easily seen that the capacity supply is far greater than the capacity in demand. And I can tell you that at the period Nigerian kids are registering for JAMB and WAEC, there's a big shut-up in internet traffic in the country. A lot of cyber cafes make all the money they will make for the year during that period, during the period of registration for WAEC and JAMB. So we cannot just imagine if every government organizations, the 400 ministry, departments and agencies are online just like JAMB and WAEC. You can imagine what will happen if all the local governments put all their services online. You can imagine what will happen if all state governments, 36 of them, are online. So the truth is that they are not there. People don't have reasons to use them. So I want to argue that the lack of utilization is not just of that of distribution, but lack of appropriate application.
This will be a more technical presentation, though it's not too boring for some of you that don't understand technology so much. What we look at here is the technology that we in Globacom deploy and also other operators to bring the broadband into Nigeria. So we're looking actually at the transport network from the internet up to the access point, and then we also look at the wireless access solution of LTE to provide from the access point down to the end consumer. Please, next slide. Next one. We already saw the slide here. On the top is the internet. Down there is Nigeria, so we have to connect actually to the internet. Previously we did it with satellite, now we have the submarine sea cables like Globacom. There's a huge capacity we have, there's a difference to the satellite. And secondly, what is the difference is the latency what we find. The latency is the time it takes the signal to travel all the way from Nigeria up to the internet. Now that is much faster on a submarine cable than compared to a satellite. On a submarine cable with like low one, in 40 milliseconds, the signal is coming from Nigeria up to the internet hub, for example, in London. Whereas a satellite takes about 6 times more duration. Now that is important when I have an application like Facebook, when responsiveness is required. So the time I press a button and the signal has to travel all the way to my server in Europe and all the way back, that is the difference in time. So we are much better on the submarine cables now.
Security here can be physical, maybe that of investment, maybe economic, maybe whatever, maybe job and wealth creation. Next slide, please, move. Peace and security, law and order, and infrastructure of development. In one word, security underpins any development. There's an American that gave a paper last year, and I like his paper. He said, money is a coward. And everyone said, wait a minute, he said, money is a coward? He said, yes, money is a coward. You know why? Nobody could answer. He said, because it doesn't go to where there is violence. You know, if you are a gallant soldier, you go to where there is insecurity to go and fight. But money does not go to where there is insecurity. So it may be physical security and life and property. Next slide, please. Now, please note this slide. Who did what, where, when, how, with who, for how long, for who, to whom, and for what purpose? Who knew what, where and when? Who said what, where and when, how, for how long, for who, to whom, and for what? Who witnessed the doing or saying of what, to whom? When was this, where, by who, and for what? Who carried or transported what, when, from where to where, through where to where? These are the answers that broadband is going to address shortly. With broadband in its ubiquity in the states, every creek, every street, every estate, every close, every crescent, every housing estate, every highway that is of interest to the law enforcement officers will be monitored real time, data captured, data stored, and with a piece of software in that platform that enables date and time specific playback. So you state the camera of interest, or group of cameras of interest, state the date, state the time interval, and you have a playback.
Basically today I'm going to just cover these things here quickly. I'm not going to read them out to you. You can read them quickly if you can speed read. Sub-Saharan Africa's internet markets are in the infancy, though the digital divide that exists between Africa and the rest of the world is fast minimized through the advent of fiber. Now we all know that SAT3 was here for many years, but due to non-redundant and obviously failover, etc., it was not a viable option. And as a company ourselves, we did not dare provide internet services through SAT3 only, and so we stuck with the high cost of satellite services until about 2 years ago, when other fibers, other IPLCs came into the market. We then decided to roll out a high internet availability, BGP platform, etc. So right now we have 2 fibers, international fibers connected to us. I'm not going to mention their names. We're struggling to work with some of the other operators, and I'm very sad to see the Glow and MTN people have left, because I was going to take a little bit of a dig at them today. With new applications running on this infrastructure that are both bandwidth demanding and affected by high latency, there's been an active shift on the choice of the broadband connectivity in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. Terrestrial connectivity today, and we've seen it all in our businesses, IS will confirm DCC Gateway, ICSL, that terrestrial connectivity solutions have become the preferred choice for internet and data connectivity, for home users even. Enterprise wide area networks, last mile solutions, well, as the POP, fiber is the preferred choice of the POP to the last mile solution.
Something changed. What changed? And as my learned colleague said today, we had the advent of undersea cables arriving to the shores of West Africa. 2 cable systems, Glow landed and Main 1 landed. You one slide too many over there. You can go 1 slide back. I'm not going to go through the benefits of WACS. It's why it landed, should it land, and we've been through that the whole day, so I'm going to move on swiftly from that. But what did happen is that the landing of the subsea cables caused 2 things to happen. 1, it caused the prices of international connectivity to drop significantly. The second thing that happened is that it started giving people the option to move away from satellite connectivity onto terrestrial services or terrestrial options.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to congratulate the organizers of this forum for bringing us together to look at what has become very important in terms of socio-economic development of our region, particularly West Africa. We'll be focusing on West Africa because Phase 3 Telecom is deploying fiber optic service on the power line across the ECOWAS member countries. And this is with the objective of providing the infrastructural basis that is required for delivery of the broadband, which is the discussion that this Congress is addressing. And drawing from our experience, we want to address the issue that goes to the root of provision of broadband. Begin to look at the various challenges that we need to overcome. One of the challenges that we must begin to put our hands together and find a permanent solution to is how do we get adequate funding in West Africa to put the infrastructure that is needed, to put the last mile, to be able to also encourage indigenous companies to be able to have access to funding so that it is possible and it's going to be faster for broadband development to take place in West Africa.
And now we are talking about broadband. We are going into broadband. We have been on voice. Most of the quality of the student customers, majority of the customers we talk to you about is on voice. I couldn't hear the other way. I could not recharge my card. I could not, my balance disappeared over scratching. The billing was wrong. I could not connect. I can't recharge. There are several of them. We are inundated with several complaints about the about the operators. So now we are moving out of voice, we are going into broadband. And broadband experience is what everything over the air or over with your device. It's either the laptop or your handset. So we're moving from voice, it's like we're conquered voice in this country. We're moving to better video, what's it called? Teleconferencing. We're also looking at even telling the broadband will bring about in this country.
The next slide shows about the average penetration and the pricing for mobile cellular versus fixed broadband in developing economies. This was taken from ITU. But the point that is made here is, if you look at this side, that is the penetration for both mobile cellular and fixed broadband. Then on this other side, you see the costing for, the price for mobile and the fixed. You see here, the penetration of mobile. This is for developing economy where Africa and Nigeria belong. The penetration for mobile is high, so the price of mobile is low. Then you look at the other one, the penetration of fixed broadband is low, and therefore the pricing is high. So it's just to make some points. Then you see the next slide talks about broadband penetration per region. Just to talk about the fact that we have some demand for broadband. Not even for broadband, we have demand for data network. Okay, then you look at this one, the penetration, Europe is the one that I see that is over 20. Then you see the Americas between 15 and 20. You see Asia between 5 and 10. You see Arab between 0 and 5. You barely can see Africa.